So maybe your Xbox One is overheating, or for whatever reason, you want to take it apart and you want to give it a good cleaning. Well, the first thing you want to do is take a spudger and you want to pry the left side vent off of the case. Just like this, and then just remove it out of the way. And then you're going to look at the side of the case and notice that there's this plastic piece to the side here. And this piece needs to slide backward, just like this, and just pull it out. And that releases the case. Now, this is a warranty sticker on the back of the Xbox. And if you have an original Xbox like this, which they call the vanilla version, the fat version, the VCR version, those have long been discontinued and are definitely out of warranty. So you can remove that warranty sticker. Next, put the spudger right under where the sticker was, and then start lifting up, in and up on the plastic upper part of the Xbox casing. In this case, I am holding it upside down. I'm pushing in, then up, in, then up. Don't do this too hard. You don't want to break anything. And as I open this, I'm going to show you where the plastic actually clips to, so that you will get an idea in the future where you will need to be prying the top of the case away from. And that is what I'm showing you here. Now, don't take the top all the way off just yet, because there is still a cable that connects to the power button that is connected. And what you want to do is slide the top forward just about half an inch, and then you'll see that ribbon cable. It is held in by a plastic retention clip. You'll want to take a spudger or even your fingernails and release that clip and release the ribbon cable so that it is not damaged. And then the top comes right off, just like this. And we're going to set it out of the way, and we're going to continue working on this Xbox One. Next, we're going to want to unplug the pigtail cable to the Wi-Fi card and then the system speaker. You may have to wiggle these, but don't force it too hard. Next, what we're going to do... gross, furball. They must have had a cat or something. You never know what you're going to find when you open up an older console like this. So the next thing we're going to do, I'm going to disconnect the pigtail to the Wi-Fi card. And then this right here is the Wi-Fi card. It's going to take 2 Torx screws, and you want to, I believe it's a Torx 8 or a Torx 9. You'll want to unscrew them. There's 2 of them. Now, once this is done, you may have to, you're going to want to pull up, but you want to do this gingerly. You kind of want to wiggle it a little bit and as you're pulling up, and then eventually it will pull right up and off of there. And this is exactly what it looks like. This is your Wi-Fi card. Just lay that out of the way for later, for when you reassemble the Xbox. You will see that there are some Torx 9 screws. I believe there are 8 of them. And you're going to want to take those off. In fact, if you want to, you can fast forward a little bit, because that's what I'm doing here, is just taking off the 8 Torx 9 screws. Another note I will tell you while I'm taking off these screws is that these screws actually not only screw into the case, but they also go all the way through the Xbox case and screw into the bottom plastic of the case. So in theory, once these screws are taken off, then I can remove the plastic bottom to the Xbox One, as you will see in the video here in just a few moments. These are pretty good size screws, and what you want to do is don't get these mixed up and put these in groups. Okay, now once the top comes off, don't just pull the top off. Slide it up and to the left, not all the way off, because as you will see, the interface cable for the Wi-Fi has a cable, this right here, that needs to be gently unplugged before you can take the top metal casing off of the Xbox One. Just like this, and then the top metal piece is now off of your Xbox One. I'm going to set that to the side, and then I'm going to continue working on the Xbox. These are your internals of the Xbox One. You have a SATA hard drive, a Blu-ray drive. Well, I'm going to take this soft bristled toothbrush and clean some of this caked in dust and dirt. It's really hard to see a lot of it on camera, but there really is a lot of it even inside this system. Sometimes you will actually see dust bunnies and a lot of other things. Just like I said, I can remove the bottom part of the case. And then I'm just going to set the metal bottom and the Xbox itself back up on the table, and I'm going to continue working on the Xbox. I'm going to feel the bearings in the fan. I'm going to make sure that it's not locked up. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the power and the SATA cable to the hard drive on the hard drive caddy. Again, the caddy is just what the hard drive is mounted to or sets on. I'm going to go ahead and remove the Blu-ray drive. I'm going to unplug the power cable, the SATA cable. Kind of said that backwards there, because the red one is the SATA cable and the other one is the power cable. And then I'm going to use that soft bristled toothbrush on the PCB board, basically the motherboard, to clean off some dust a little bit. And you'll see there's power control panel is what I call this. And there are 3, I believe it's Torx 9 screws, and they need to come off. And once you take these off, you will want to be careful and remove the board, pull it from right here where I'm pointing, and pull that outward, and it just comes right off. Next, turn over the console, and there are some more screws that need to be removed from the bottom. I believe these are silver in color, and I believe there's about 4 or 5 of them. I can't remember right off, but these are the ones that need to come out next. And this is going to help you remove the motherboard to the Xbox One. Also, right here, you will see a square with an X in it. This right here is actually where the APU is screwed to the case. And that is the graphics processor and then the CPU, the central processing unit. And underneath of it, there's going to be a metal clamp we're going to see here in just a few minutes called the X clamp. So with removing all of these screws, I'm going to get access to be able to remove the motherboard from the case. You will see there are some plastic standoffs, and there are some screws to the side of the case. I believe this is a Torx 9 also. And you don't want to forget to take these off because they also hold the motherboard on. In the front, there are two plastic standoffs that you can just pinch the two plastic clips together and take each of these standoffs out. And then you just kind of wiggle and pull up on the motherboard, and it comes right out of the bottom metal case. This right here is the X clamp, and I cannot stress enough that you need to be careful when doing this. There are some tools that they sell that make it easier for you to take this clamp off, but I find it's easy if you just get a slender screwdriver and you put the screwdriver right behind each metal standoff, and you do not push it down all the way but about halfway, and you push up, and that will release one side of the X clamp at a time. And once you release two sides, you just pull it off and set it to the side, just like that. Just remember, be careful when you're doing that. And as you can see, once you take off the heatsink and fan, you're going to see underneath the thermal paste, which the job of the thermal paste is to mate or transfer the heat from the APU to the metal of the heatsink and then push it up into the air and out of the case. But as you can see, look at all of this debris that's collected over the 10 years, and the paste itself has dried up. It is no longer a conductor, and it's just building up just like a greenhouse effect. And you want to keep it clean. I mean, it's keeping it more hot than cool, so this Xbox could possibly be overheating or starting to lag, as if it's running hot, you will see frame skippage as you're playing. So this definitely needs to be addressed and taken care of. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually off camera, I'm going to compress air this fan, and I'm also going to take some isopropyl alcohol. Make sure it's 91%. And I'm going to put it on the old thermal compound. And it really breaks down old thermal compound or any thermal compound pretty well. And I'm going to get some towels and some other things such as spudgers and clean off the old thermal compound, as it's just dried up and not working anymore. And then I'm going to take my soft bristled toothbrush as I'm doing this, and I'm going to also put isopropyl alcohol on it and make sure it's 91% grade, because that really goes in and does a good job cleaning, and then it will evaporate off just a couple of seconds later. I find it a pretty good cleaning solution. And, I take it gently over all the memory chips, the IC chips, the capacitors, anywhere I see dust or dirt. I really go over this a lot more than in the video. And as you can see, I also removed the thermal paste on the bottom of the heat sink. And this is after I use compressed air. This thing looks like brand new. And you can see straight through it. So that means the air is going to be able to be pulled up through to the fan and out of the case. So in putting this thing back together, I have some brand new thermal paste. And everybody applies it a little different, but this is how I do it. So you're going to see up close. I put some thermal paste on there, and then I just take a piece of paper, or you might even have a plastic spudger, and you just kind of want to spread it on the APU, the actual die, not the outside metal, but the inside of the APU where it says Xbox One, just like I'm doing here. And you want to get it as smooth as possible. The smoother you get it, the less air bubbles have a chance of forming in the thermal paste. And the whole purpose of this is for when you put the heatsink on, that this is going to be a conductor. It's going to basically connect the heatsink to the motherboard and on top of the APU that generates heat. And instead of the heat being able to heat up the APU, it's going to heat up this metal on this processor because it's going to be well conducted to it. And it's going to gather all of that heat, and then the fan is going to be running and push and pull the heat out of the case and into the air. It's going to be doing a pretty good job. It's going to have ventilation again, since the board has been cleaned, the heatsink has been cleaned, and you have that new thermal compound that is giving it a brand new mating surface and conduction to the APU, which APU just means the video and the processor is built into one chip. So you're going to want to keep that at a lower temperature. You don't want it to overheat, because in electronics you will learn that heat kills. So as you can see, I have put the new thermal paste on the heatsink. The power ribbon goes toward the back of the motherboard. That's how you know which way the heatsink goes in. And you will put the standoffs that go down inside the motherboard in, and you'll gently push down on the heatsink and fan itself so that you can mate it to the processor, the APU. And then, of course, you're going to want to plug in that fan that's on the heatsink. After all, that is what pulls the heat out of the system and keeps your system cool. And you're going to next want to turn the motherboard over, and we're going to reinstall that X clamp. And it's not going to be that hard. You can actually put this on any way you want, but I tend to take the side that has the notch and I point it toward the front of the motherboard, and then I just connect the X clamp to each of the standoffs, and I just push down. Now it takes about 3 to 5 pounds of pressure, so it takes a little bit of pressure, but you don't want to do it like Incredible Hulk do it. Now I do have it mounted properly and installed now, but I'm going to, while I'm down here on the back of the motherboard, I'm going to go ahead and start cleaning that with the soft bristled toothbrush and the Isopro alcohol, and I'm going to start cleaning this other side. So whatever environment this motherboard or this Xbox was in, if it was in a smoke environment where people smoked, or a dirt road, this is going to clean all that film and dirt off of the motherboard itself, so that there's no heat that is getting trapped that can't rise and be ventilated out of the case, because it's very important to make sure that the heat doesn't get trapped inside of the Xbox, because that will lead to a premature death for the Xbox. I'm also going to clean the case. Now, I'm not going to show every piece of the case on camera, but do this for the top also, and every piece of the Xbox case. The vents for the top also, and give it a good clean down. You'll want it to have the best ventilation possible. And, like I said, clean the bottom and the top. Now this next part is entirely optional, but I highly recommend it. This hard drive is over 10 years old, so it is on its last legs more than likely, and I'm going to be upgrading it from a 500 gigabyte SATA 2 drive to a 1 terabyte SSD drive. There are going to be 4 screws in this caddy, and by caddy I just mean what the hard drive is attached to and lays in the Xbox on. And that's these plastic pieces with standoffs. And I'm going to show you these have like either a Torx 8 or a Torx 9 screws. There's going to be 4 of them on each part of the plastic of the caddy. There's going to be the outer plastic with the stands and then the inner flat piece plastic. And then there's going to be the connector to the hard drive, the actual SATA and power connector. Now, keep in mind, once you put all of this back together, you're going to do so in the reverse way that I took it apart. So, I'm not going to show on camera how to put it all back together. This is just a disassemble and clean and maintain video. But I will be adding videos of how to reassemble and also how to reprogram that new hard drive that you're installing in future videos on my channel. I hope that you have enjoyed this video as much as I've enjoyed making it. Please leave a comment in the comment section below, even if you don't like my video or if you do. Also consider subscribing to my channel. I can always use more subscribers. I thank you for watching my content. I will see you in the next video.